Welcome to In the Huddle talking Elizabethton Cyclone football. I'm your host, Tom Taylor, and we are excited about being here in the land of the Cyclones, orange and black, talking Elizabethton football with head coach Shawn Witten. And Coach, our maiden voyage, and I know when we approached you, you're all about promoting the student athlete. You said, come on, let's promote our kids, and we appreciate you letting us come over and do that.
Yeah, we're glad you're here, and it's exciting for our program.
The name of the game is to promote student athletes who bust your tail every Friday night, in this case playing football, and the band and the cheerleaders and whatever is involved in Elizabethton High School. They're all working hard as student athletes. And so let's go back to last Friday night. You go play Unicoi County, a team that's in the bottom of the league, and you obviously up on the top of the league with Sullivan South. And you guys kind of started slow. Tell me about that.
Well, we did. We weren't really mentally into the game. We got off to a sluggish start. We actually went up. We scored on our third play of the game, so our guys felt like maybe we were just going to kind of walk away with it. But, we ended up as 15-7 with 1:36 left. We ended up scoring to make it 22-7 right before half. But it was more of our body language, more the way we were going out, trying to handle the business. But it was our final preparation before this week's matchup, and so you wanted to be crisp, want to be smooth, and we just kind of we weren't on all cylinders. So, As a coach, you understand, we've been preparing for this week, and you've been trying to work and not let them prepare ahead of time. But, the most important thing is we got to win. We set ourselves up for a conference championship game. Most other thing is we got everybody healthy. We walked away in great shape, so we're excited about where we are.
As a coach, when you're out there in the pregame, you've been around this long enough. You've played it, obviously, and now you're coaching. Can you get a sense if the guys are going through the motions and the motor's not running, they're kind of going half speed? I mean, can you get an idea on warm-ups how they're going to be?
Oh yeah, you can tell. I mean, you a lot of guys, your elite players, they got that same approach, but it's more about the team unity, more doing the little things, catching the ball, tucking it away, falling throughs on the throws. Are we dropping balls in practice in the pregame, and just sharp is our mind into it. There's little things that coaches look for, kind of our energy level, or kind of guys, are they talking in their groups about the football game, or there's their mind on other things. So definitely, you probably can't take a whole lot of into it, but if your guys are going to be ready to play or not.
We're talking to Shawn Witten. We're talking Elizabethton Cyclone football. Again, we're in the huddle here at Elizabethton. And so give us a snapshot. What did you tell them at halftime?
Well, first, Unicoi County went on a 17-play drive, 8 minutes, and ended up scoring. They converted 2 fourth downs. And then our next series, we went 3 plays and out and had a quarterback sack for minus 8 yards. So immediately called timeout there, brought the group up on the sideline, just let them know how displeased I was to say about the way we're going about. But at halftime it was more about at this point in time in the year, you want to see a championship effort. You want to see a team that goes out there and takes care of business and does what it's supposed to. And you want to have that complete effort. You want to have the great body language. You want to be, I just like for us to have gone out there, taking care of business, got some younger kids involved in the game, and boom, now we're ready for next week's matchup. And the other thing, too, as well, we're playing on Thursday this week. You got one less week of preparation, so you like for guys to get their mind off Unicoi, get their mind on Sullivan South, and get ourselves ready to go. But it's more about, we got 22 seniors on the team. We're an experienced football program. This is our 6th time going to be playing in a conference championship game. So you like for our maturity and our leadership to kind of stand out, and that's what I let them know at halftime. It was more of a personal talk. Let them know that, hey, we're better than this. We expect more than that. We work harder than our performance there. But second half, we came out. We had 3 straight 3-and-outs by our defense, 3 straight touchdowns. I didn't even know it at the end of the game. Ethan Thomas ended up having 6 touchdowns. I didn't even realize that. That's how quick the game kind of went on. But it all for our guys. I mean, it's the last 4 weeks we played some teams that have kind of been the bottom of our league, and so we've been able to try to work on some things. But you just want them in the back of their minds. You want them to know that everything they're doing is gearing up for that conference championship game.
Before we go to the highlights, I want to pay tribute to Coach White. He Unicoi County. Those guys played you tough. As you said, they put on an 18-yard drive. They're at the bottom of the league. They've had a lot of turmoil in Unicoi County. They could have packed it in, quite frankly. I think it's been very nice that he's got these guys mid-season. They changed coaches. There's some upheaval, and that being around the game. So for him to get those guys and come out there and challenge you all, I thought that was a good testament to the direction of the Unicoi County football program, and kudos to Coach White.
Well, I think one of the hardest things to do in the coaching business is take over mid-year, take over after a guy that's decided not to be there. I mean, do you change systems? Do you change philosophies? It's a 180-degree turn, and I think they've always had last couple of years had a great running back in Frankowski. He's a great kid. One of the top running backs last year in the Three Rivers. So we expected to get a great effort to him. But, anytime that, Coach White deserves a lot of credit. Unicoi kids played extremely well, and they gave us a challenge which we needed. And so it was good. It was good to see that, and it was good to see the guy, Unicoi is going to have a bright future next year under Coach White. They're a very disciplined football team. Their guys were ready to play, which is great. And a lot of those kids, when we got up, they could have easily folded and being winless, but, those guys continued to battle all the way throughout the course of the game.
On to Coach Witten, we're talking Cyclone football. Let's pick up the highlights. Coach, at first run, Thomas, as you said, got 6 touchdowns. Set this one up, the 26-yard run back in the first quarter. It got it going for the Cyclones.
Well, it was our third play of the game. We had our first 2 plays, we threw 2 pass plays to kind of spread the field. It was a trap right up the middle, and he was able to get up the middle and then bounce it out to the outside. And that's one of the things we like about Ethan Thomas. He can go inside and outside. So it was a great execution by our offensive line.
He comes right back in the first quarter and gets a 1-yard plunge.
Well, it was a great drive. We mixed it up with the run and pass, got it all the way down into the goal line there, went to our power set. We actually put 2 linemen in as 2 fullbacks, and we kind of busted up on the edge there to Ethan's so hard to stop on a 1-yard line. His momentum, his power, his strength, and especially when you get number 58, number 50 back there leading the way, it's tough to stop.
We go to the second quarter again. It's Ethan Thomas all night long. There's a 3-yard run, and that closed out his scoring in the first half. But once again, in close and virtually unstoppable. That close in, he just upper body strength. He just pounds that rock, doesn't he?
Well, I think what was good about that one is we stayed in our spread formations. We kind of stayed spread out. It was a little zone play, and he actually cut it back off the backside. So I think for us, it's the ability to get in those situations. The formations, the personnel groups. Do we want to pack it in there and go with our power game? Do we want to spread people out and try to get our matchups there? But what we've been able to do the last couple weeks and throughout the game is we've tried to get more people involved, not just Ethan. But anytime you get down in there inside the 5-yard line, I mean, you got to give it to a guy that that's going to definitely get you in the end zone.
Okay, give it to the money man, let him take it to the bank, right?
There's no doubt about it.
And he is a dandy, one of the all-time greats. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We go to the second half, 14-yard run, 23-yard run. Set these plays up.
Well, we did a good job of mixing up the inside and outside. We did a good job of just sustaining drives. We did a good job of getting our Caleb Armstrong out on some runs. And then, the thing about us is if you watch us play offensively, we're constantly mixing up personnels each play. We're going 2 tight end set, 4 receiver set, to 3 receiver set, to 2 running back set. But I think for us, we know when it gets crunch time, and I've said this about Ethan Thomas. Ethan Thomas always shows up in the big moments and the big games. And when we get in those big moments, big games, people know we're going to give it to 28. And up to this point, he's always come through for us.
And you should.
No doubt.
Obviously, he's proven himself. 14-yard run, 23-yard run for a touchdown. Last one of the fourth quarter, a beautiful 42-yard run.
Well, it was a great job by our offensive line. Has been consistent all year long. Our tight ends have done a great job of getting down the field. We actually ran 6 trap plays up the middle that kind of set some things up for this week as well. But when Ethan Thomas hits the middle, he has the ability to go. He can bounce and has the speed to go the outside. And I think that's one of the best things about Ethan that he's grown over the past couple of years is the breakaway speed. Last couple of years, you see him if guys had angles, they would catch him, and when he was a sophomore, we had to tell him, hey, Ethan, the object is to score, because he wanted to try to run over the free safety and get the big hits there. But I love the way that he's kind of developed his game. He's kind of come on, and we have a saying around here amongst the coaches, but it's kind of in 28 we trust, and we trust 28 with the football. He's only fumbled one time in 3 years. He's just a dandy. And, like I said, I didn't even know at the end of the game he had 6 touchdowns, just because we've had so many people involved during the course of the game. Our passing game has gotten better. Our offensive line has been able to handle everything we've thrown at them. But it was exciting to see. Just think about this, all the games that Ethan's played in, and then last week he had 6 touchdowns. It's amazing. He's had 4, he's had 5, he's had 300 yards rushing. But to think he's never had a game where he's had 6 touchdowns is pretty unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. This kid is the real deal. One of the top 10 running backs in the history. Or he is the number 1 running back in the history of Northeast Tennessee football, and he's rapidly approaching being one of the top 10 all-time in the history of Tennessee high school football. If you think of all the guys that have toted the mail down through the years, that is a phenomenal honor, and he's not done yet. Of course, a football game this week, and certainly first round of the playoffs, and we hope even more for the Cyclones. This kid could really rewrite the record books before he's all said and done.
Well, I think when you talk about Ethan, before you go on the field, he's a remarkable young man off the field. His teammates love him. The community loves him. He's a hard worker. He's a humble kid. Every time he gets interviewed after the game, he's always giving credit off his line. He's been fortunate the last 3 years. He's had some great guys. And we've been committed to him as well. We've been able to feed him, and like I said before, in all the big games, he's come through, and it's a credit to him. He's developed an inside and outside game. Last couple of weeks he caught a screen for a touchdown. He returned 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown. So he's kind of come a more complete player, finding ways to score in different areas, and he's actually seen some more time on some defensive side of the football a little bit. But there's so many things that you can do when you got a guy like Ethan Thomas, and a lot of those plays, I can tell you, they're not great play calls. It's just guys, making big-time football plays.
It's called God-given natural ability, right?
No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
No question. So they end up winning big, 43-7, the final score at Unicoi, and that wrapped up that particular game. We'll take a break, come right back. We'll talk about Caleb Armstrong, Marcus Olds. Here's a guy I want Coach to talk about who's been a very integral part of this football team. His kicker, Logan Birchfield. The guy's almost automatic. We'll come back. And also, as you know by now, the TSSAA, we're back to reclassification again. Are they going up? They're going down. Find out where the Cyclones are going. And also, in the postseason, see where they plan to be and what they plan to do as far as other teams in the postseason, because they have qualified for the playoffs. So come back with us. We'll talk more with head coach Shawn Witten. We're talking Elizabethton Cyclone football.
Truck Month is back, and the savings are bigger and better than ever at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. New 2014 Silverado 1500 All-Star Double Cabs and Crew Cabs, $10,000 off MSRP. 1500 Double Cab 4x4, $30,420. 1500 Crew Cab 4x4, $32,905. 1500 Regular Cab 4x2, $18,995. We have a selection of over 150 new Silverados to choose from, so hurry in for the $10,000 off MSRP, and you will be asking, how do they do that? Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City.
Wake up to a new, better breakfast. It's Golden Corral's tastier than ever ultimate weekend breakfast buffet. For one low price, it's our new buttermilk pancakes, bacon, sausage, signature omelets, and more. Juice included. It's a better breakfast, and it's only at Golden Corral.
Hey, welcome back to In the Huddle, talking Elizabethton Cyclone football. I'm your host, Tom Taylor, the head coach, Shawn Witten. Coach, before we wrap up Unicoi County, I think you need to talk about some of these other great kids that played and had big games. Let's start with Caleb Armstrong, your quarterback, 9 for 12, 106 yards. May have got lost in the 6-touchdown night by Ethan Thomas, but still, this kid's the man that makes the motor go.
Well, he is. He's become the leader that we want him to be. Back in preseason, we really pushed for him to be kind of the leader of our football team. He's a guy that brings 2 dimensions to our football team. He's a dual threat quarterback on the run. He's got remarkable speed. And then also his arm. He's got a great arm. He's developed more accuracy as the season gone along. We got a bunch of guys we've been trying to get involved: Marcus Olds, Jalen Smith, Isaiah Clark. So we feel that we're a more complete football team. And I think the difference for us right now, and coaches were talking about the other day, what's the difference in us right now and the teams in the past? And we feel we're not just one-dimensional. We feel that we can get the ball out to receivers. We feel we have vertical threats. We feel that we can get our backs involved in things, and we can run the quarterback on some runs. So we feel that we're as tough to stop as we've been because we got a guy like Caleb Armstrong. And, we work on our passing game probably as much as anybody. The last couple of weeks we've been trying to get more people involved. And you got to give a credit to our offensive line. We're a heavy run football team, but those guys have been a great job of making sure that we got great pass protection as well.
Now, tomorrow night, Thursday night, we'll play in Sullivan South. It's going to be cool and cold. Do the Hogs, they going to like getting out there in the cold weather?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is when those guys have got to come through. We've actually won the Hogs Award, 7 out of the 7 weeks so far, and our guys, I mean, they've done a great job. And we got a great line coach in Jeff Pierce, and those guys have been the gas that runs off our car this year. I mean, those guys have been awesome. Chris Cyphers at left tackle, Colin Cusack the center, our 2 leaders. But it's awesome to see that those guys and how they come to work each and every week.
So they're going to like playing out cold weather, aren't they?
They better like it.
You're exactly right. Let's talk about Logan Birchfield. Here's a guy that's a big weapon for you and almost automatic as a point-after guy and a field goal kicker.
Well, what makes you great this time of the year is having a guy like Logan Birchfield, senior kicker. The ability to, he's not made a field goal this year because we've not attempted one, but the ability to have that, and I think, too, when you score like we've been able to score, you got to, to have a great kickoff coach team. We got guys that can cover, but you got to have a great kicker, and Logan does a great job of putting the ball whenever we want it. So he's got great range. He's got a strong leg. He's a great kid. He works hard every day, and we're fortunate to have Logan on our football team.
You know this, too. You get into tight games in the playoffs or any time, a lot of times, more times than not, it'll come down to the kicking game, whether special teams, punt returns, kickoff returns, field goal attempts. Kicking game gets real big in the playoffs, doesn't it?
Well, it does. We've talked about it yesterday, how many games we've won by 1 point. Our game by South last year was won by 1 point. The difference was we blocked one of their extra points. We converted ours. So, we talk about that. We preach about that. And, but it's always great to have a guy that is, not having just a good kicker, but having a good kicker that's in the clutch, and that's what we have in Logan Birchfield.
Let's talk about your defense. Again, we're talking to Coach Witten here. We're talking Elizabethton Cyclone football here on In the Huddle. Coach, you held Unicoi County to 80 total yards last week. That's the entire ball game. So tell me some kids that obviously came to play on the defensive side.
Well, we've tried to search for some answers throughout the course of our year on defense. We've had some challenges. We've had some mixed guys in our starting lineup, but it starts with our linebacking group. Our leading tackler in Garrett Church, our second leading tackler in Jeremiah Turner off the edge. Our interior people are starting to play better. Scotty Oliver, Johnny Ray Woodby, Damon Heaton, Sam Young, Jacob McKinney. But the whole key to our defense is Hunter Hodges. Hunter Hodges is our leader of defense. He's coach on the field. He gets us lined up. He makes the checks. And in the secondary, a guy named Christian Glover, number 33. He used to get a lot of offensive snaps. Now he's been the key guy in our secondary. Gets us in our coverage checks. And so those guys right there mainly. But it's a huge challenge when you play a team that's that can run and pass. But our defense has kind of been in a little bit inconsistent this year. But we're going at this point in time when you can run the football and play good defense. You're going to give yourself a great chance to advance, and we're going to need another great effort out of them like that.
Let's recap the season so far. Opening things up, winning over Daniel Boone 49-0. Only loss of the season to Science Hill 56-34. Then they go and they defeat Sullivan East in the conference opener 63-27. Beat Crockett 55-20. They beat Tennessee High 49-35 in a shootout. Then they've rattled off, again, 4 straight conference wins, defeating Happy Valley 57-0. Defeated the Sullivan North Golden Raiders over there 55-20. Beat Johnson County 42-13, as we said last week. And Irwin beat Unicoi County 43-7. They're averaging 43 points a game, giving up right around 19-20 points. And so grade your football team heading into the South in the playoffs. Are you A, B, C, or D right now?
Well, we feel like we're the strongest we've been, and I think that our season's kind of gone the way that we kind of expect. We played one bad quarter, the first quarter against Science Hill. We just got so far down. We had to crawl back, but the next 3 quarters against Science Hill, we kind of outgained them yards. We fought back, but anytime you get down, 21 points in the first quarter, it's a little bit deflating. Science Hill's explosive, but we played lights out all season except for one quarter. The effort's been great. The passing game's improved. Our defense has gone through some hurdles. Our offensive line has been so consistent. And, people know what style of football we're going to play, and we've still been able to come through big. I thought last year and this year, the key game, the second half of our season was the Tennessee High game. Ethan Thomas last year had a big game against them. It kind of set sail for the last 5 conference games for us. Again this year, the game kind of went back and forth. We got 4 big stops on defense, which converted in we went up 2 scores. So really, I thought that game was the turning point of our season last year and this year, and it really set a sail. We've got more guys involved in our program right now. We got more guys involved on Friday night. And so, and that's Cyclone football. That's what it's been here for a number of years. We've got to play a bunch of kids, and you take a guy like Ethan Thomas, people ask all the time, why don't we see him more on defense? We feel that we've got guys that can step up and they have a role, they have a responsibility, and Ethan's role is to carry this football team in the offensive end, and so we're excited about where we are. We're excited about the leadership on our football team, and we feel like the next season, the postseason, we feel like we can make a strong push.
Before we get into the South preview, which is the obvious, it's the game of the year in this conference. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes when we come back from the break. But, Coach, before the break, reclassification, TSSAA, we're back at this again, and another round of reclassification. Where will the Cyclones be next year?
Well, we fell 3A. We've been a 4A team the last 2 years. 2009 through 2012, we were a 3A team. The state put us back in 3A. We decided that was best for us to stay. We've kind of been in that Mountain Lakes, Three Rivers Conference with a bunch of teams in our area, but we felt that it was best for us in the future. We felt it gave us a strong push to be able to, maybe, knock on that door a couple more years down the road. And, but like I was saying before, our schedule has always been, and the strength of our schedule has always been our non-conference games. Daniel Boone, Science Hill, Tennessee High. Even when South wasn't in our conference, we played them. We played Greenville. We went down to Knoxville, played CAK. We went over to North Carolina, played Asheville and Tuscola. So the strength of our schedule has always been our non-conference games. Our league games gets us prepared. And for us, we've always kind of been a smaller school. We've played good competition, and we feel that's imperative once you get this point in the season.
Lombardi used to say, to be the best, you got to play the best, right?
Yeah, we do. And there's some tough teams in the area. There's, and your talent level sometimes it's a roller coaster. You got great years, you got bad years. But, when you got consistent programs, you put a system in place where the kids can be successful. We've been fortunate here. We got a great staff. We got a group of kids that work really hard. Football is big here. The tradition's big here. And, our JV programs, our freshman programs, our middle school programs, they're competitive. So we feel that regardless of what 3A or 4A league we're in, we feel that our schedule is what gets us ready for the postseason.
And coming up next, we'll talk to Coach about 22 seniors about to go out and play for the Three Rivers Conference Championship against Sullivan South. We'll come back and talk more with head coach Shawn Witten as you watch and listen to Elizabethton Cyclone football.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
And we are back in the huddle talking again to Elizabethton head football coach Shawn Witten, Cyclone football, and we're glad you're with us. And tell your neighbors, tell your friends, talk about the orange and black. And Coach, playoffs coming up next week, and that's them. But on the immediate horizon, obviously, is a big showdown, classic matchup, 2 football teams that are tradition-rich. Last year, as you said earlier in the show, came down to a missed point after. You win 28-27 in Colonial Heights. Tomorrow night, the Rebels come to town, number 7 in the state. Cyclones 10th in the state. I mean, it's got all the makings for us media folks to just hype, and it's going to be a heck of a football game.
Well, it is, and I think first and foremost, you got to give both teams credit for, staying the course, staying focused throughout the course of the season, and getting here once again for the championship. And it takes 2 great programs. It takes a bunch of great young men. It takes a bunch of great coaches to go out there and just stay the course. But it's exciting, when you get to this point. It's exciting for your program. It's exciting for the community. It's exciting for the kids. You preach, not look ahead. But once it gets here, I mean, it's an awesome feeling to be, competing for a championship. And I think for our program, I'm sure Sam's the same way. You don't talk about winning games in the preseason. You talk about winning championships. You talk about getting yourself there, the ability to have a chance to be number 1. And so we feel confident and where we are going into the game, and we know it's going to be a battle. We've talked to our kids all week long that it's going to be an all-effort game. It may take more than 48 minutes. Both programs are similar. Like I said, 22 seniors. These guys have had some battles the last 4 years. So it's definitely going to be one of the exciting games of the season.
For all intents and purposes, this will be it, too, because the Three Rivers Conference goes away this year. So whoever wins this can say we won the last Three Rivers Conference championship. All these subplots, Ethan Thomas against the South linebackers and the defense, Dylan Wigger, the outstanding quarterback for South, and obviously the stingy defense of Elizabethton. 2 great kickers, Caleb Armstrong, great quarterback for Elizabeth. I mean, all the subplots are there to have just as Keith Jackson said, old-fashioned barn burner.
Well, it's going to take that, and I think that there's a lot of impact players. There's a lot of role players out there, but a guy's just got to go out there and execute the game plan. At this point in time, I mean, it's both teams have kind of followed each other throughout the course of the season. I know that we've kind of it's hard not to keep the look at the schedule and see who's doing what, and so it's just an exciting time, and we're fortunate that these kids are in a program. We've created an environment where that you talk about being champions. We're fortunate enough the last 5 years we've won 4. We're competing for our 5th against South, but and I'll tell you this, there's no better feeling than going against Sam. I mean, I think we got a lot of respect for Sam and the programs, a lot of respect for what Stacy went through and built at South. So couldn't be more happier than being playing at South, and excited about that. And definitely the team that wins the game is definitely one that's going to have to earn it. Definitely. There's going to be some, there's going to be some great football and 2 exciting offenses, like you said, some stingy defenses, and we just got to be ready to go.
I think he is. Is your motor running? Looks
there's no doubt about it. We tell all the kids all the time. I mean, as a coach, you hope your team kind of takes a little bit of, that energy and that enthusiasm from you. I mean, it's just there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of emotion that goes through it. Like for us, 22 seniors, final home game. There's a lot at stake going into the postseason, and so there's definitely all the things that you work through, all the lifting weights, all the sprints, all the practices, everything goes down into the 48 minutes, and so it's an exciting time for our kids.
And one other point to this too, theoretically it'll be the last football game at Brown Childers Stadium. You're building a new stadium here in Elizabeth. We'll talk about that next week, but that's another reason these kids to say, hey, we're going to defend our turf. Final game, we want to go out. All these years of playing this stadium, all the great teams at Elizabethton with Coach Ryder and now with you, that we want to win this one for the old proverbial Gipper to win on this last game on this field. So lots of subplots that'll get going at 7:30 on Thursday night. Coach, appreciate you, and we'll get back next week talking about the playoffs. Good luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Head coach Shawn Witten again. Man, I get fired up sitting over here. I said, Coach, put me in. Give me a helmet. I'll go hit somebody. The orange and black, and as I said, I've been talking all week long. You want to get here early. Of course, the stadium's in a residential part of Elizabeth, and parking will be at a premium. And I promise you, the Rebel Nation will be here from Sullivan South. Obviously, the Cyclone Nation will be here big time, orange and black. So weather's going to be good Thursday night, Friday night. I'm glad they moved to the Thursday. Friday night's going to be so-so. But Thursday night, perfect night for football for a Three Rivers Conference Championship. 7th-ranked South, 10th-ranked Elizabethton. It's going to be a whammer-jammer. We'll take a break, come back and talk with some more folks from Elizabethton High School as you are watching In the Huddle as you watch Elizabethton Cyclone football.
Truck Month is back, and the savings are bigger and better than ever at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City. New 2014 Silverado 1500 All-Star Double Cabs and Crew Cabs, $10,000 off MSRP. 1500 Double Cab 4x4, $30,420. 1500 Crew Cab 4x4, $32,905. 1500 Regular Cab 4x2, $18,995. We have a selection of over 150 new Silverados to choose from, so hurry in for the $10,000 off MSRP, and you will be asking, how do they do that? Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City.
Welcome back to In the Huddle, talking Elizabethton Cyclone sports. I'm your host, Tom Taylor, and we go from football to cross country. And these guys and lady, of course, heading down to the cross country state championship this weekend in Brentwood with Coach Aaron Wood and Coach Amber Abel. Good morning and good afternoon, kids. How you doing?
Doing well.
Doing well.
When's the last time you were called kids? I guess that'd be.
For me, it happens frequently.
Oh, does it really?
Say last year at state, probably for me, they thought I was running with them.
You
So.
thought you were one of the kids?
Oh yeah.
I like this guy. This guy's all right over here. He's a live wire. All right, Zamber, let's talk about the kids that make up the cross-country team this year, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. I guess I'll start with Aaron. Aaron, tell me about the season so far for Elizabethton cross-country.
I mean, we've had a really successful season so far. You know, we started off originally, with a group of kids who really hadn't really done much with cross-country, especially on the girls' side. And then we ended up taking off and started building, and then we get to conference and had some breakthroughs there. And then, for us at regionals to go ahead and get second place in regionals was a huge accomplishment, considering, that we weren't running full strength, and we've had a week to recover, and we're going down to Brentwood, and we're ready to shake things up. So,
not the most glamorous sport, obviously. It takes a special person to run cross country. So, how do you become, football, we talk Coach Witten, there's a feeder program, basketball, Coach Duggar's a feeder program, and Coach Honeycutt, but how does a kid start, it's not a league around here to run it. How's a kid get interested in cross country? A young person, I guess what I'm saying.
One of the biggest impacts that we've had, especially in the last 3 years, was we actually started a middle school program at T.A. Duggar, so we have our own feeder program now for cross country, but the biggest thing is just convincing the kids to try it. Once they try it for a week, they usually get hooked, and next thing you know, 4 months later, they're running at regionals and state, and they love it. So it's just more about getting them out and trying it more than anything.
Talking to Coach Aaron Wood again, Elizabethton Cross Country heading to the state championship this weekend in Brentwood. And tell me about the district regional meet. You had a young lady who won everything, and tell us about that meet.
Macy ran phenomenal. She's a quality runner. She won conference last year, was on pace to win conference this year. Got, I believe, third last year at regionals, and this year, to come through and just break through and win regionals it's a huge accomplishment, especially for just a sophomore. It's her second year on the team, and she's one of our leaders, and it's amazing to see where it's going to go in the next 2 years with her continuing to do that.
For the folks who may not know, kind of tell the viewers out there, how far do they run?
They run 5,000 meters, which is 3.1 miles.
3.1 miles. So, Coach Abel here with us. Tell us about the folks on the team this year. Who are some of the folks?
Well, Macy Shell, she's our number one right now. We actually have one young lady, Heather Fukenberg. I don't know. I'll say her last name, Fukenberger, maybe. It's a very strange last name. I feel sorry for Heather. I'm sorry.
Her mom will know who she is.
She will. I think it's Fukenberger is how you say it. Heather, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Unfortunately, Heather's out for the season with an ankle injury, and she's actually our number 2 runner. And so qualifying for state without Heather at the regional meet was a huge accomplishment, and our middle pack of girls really worked hard in order to make that happen. We have Michaela Newman. She missed a big chunk of the first part of our season due to an injury and is now back and running well. We also have Mackenzie Richardson, Ellie Decker, Julia Schubert, and Emily Schubert. Emily Schubert is an all-around amazing athlete. She's actually a state qualifier in multiple sports. Basketball, she's on the state champion basketball team. She went to state last year in discus, and she placed 4th at regionals. And so we were really happy to have two women in the top 5. On the boys' side, going to state, we have Cody Baker. He's a senior this year. We're really very proud of Cody to push through and work so hard his senior year. We have many other boy runners that are successful. We have some juniors that are going to be hanging around with us, and we're excited to see what they can do as a team next year as well.
I was going to say, how many folks, these kids going down this week, how many will be coming back next year?
All the girls come back,
Awesome.
and that's one of our pluses, I would say, is that we get all of them back for at least one more year, and a big chunk of our talent is in our sophomore age group, so we'll have them for another 2 years. On the boys' side, we do have 3 seniors, Cody being one of them, and we'll graduate them 3. We're hoping to have at least 1 or 2 from the junior high come up and really step in and fill those spots.
So you go back down, Coach. Coach Wood, you're going back down to the state championship this weekend. What's it take? You're down to the cream of the crop. What's it take to go down there and bust through and win this thing?
I mean, when it comes to state itself is just such an experience for the kids. I mean, that high-level competition, the high level of the pressure that they get under, the biggest thing is where you're at in the first mile. I mean, you have so many people in this race. You have so many people trying to fight for these spots. Statistically speaking, usually where you're at in the first mile ends up coming out to where you're going to be near the end of the race just because with all the passing that goes on. But the biggest thing is having the kids show up with confidence at the line. I mean, they've built so much confidence out the year if they start like that. I mean, a confident runner is a very, very, very hard person to beat.
So they run 3 miles. Excuse me, they run 3 miles. They run, is it up and down in Brentwood? Is it a pretty flat course?
It's great. It's actually a horse steeplechase course that they've converted into a state park. So, I mean, you have some gradual uphills, but I mean, one of the big advantages for Northeast Tennessee cross country, whether it's us or Daniel Boone or Science Hill, is this is one of the fastest courses we go to all year. Whereas comparatively, you have people from, the Memphis area where it's really flat out there. These are the first hills that they see. So we throw all rankings out the window and we just say, guys, this is one of the fastest courses you're ever going to see for the season. And go, get after it, and have fun. And I mean, you'll notice that Northeast Tennessee and even the Knoxville region historically has dominated the state meet.
So you said in closing here, there's going to be a lot of folks. How many kids are going to be out there running this weekend?
Well,
Hundreds?
Well, we have 12 regions, at least 3 teams to regions. That's 36 teams. So, I mean, that right there is already, what was that, 230 people? So we're looking at about 250, 300, I would say.
Awesome.
Down there and trying to go for it and see what we can do.
Bring home the brass ring, right? Hey, good luck to you guys. I appreciate you stopping by and letting us talk to you. So cross country, one of the sports, doesn't get a lot of publicity, but it should because they work very, very hard running through the woods all year long, year-round training. So this week, the Elizabethton Cyclone cross country team heading to the state championship in Brentwood. We hope to bring back the championship here to Northeast Tennessee. Good luck to you all.
Thank you very much.
Coach Abel and Coach Wood, take a quick break. Come right back with more. You are in the huddle as we talk Elizabethton Cyclone sports.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
We are back on In the Huddle talking Elizabethton football across country. Now we'll talk about the outstanding band at Elizabethton High School with the band director, Perry Elliott. And Perry, first off, how long have you been here?
Well, longer than a lot of the parents would like me to be, I'm sure. It's been over 20 years, about 22, 23 years, I think.
It was a great line. I like this guy. Longer than some of mama's days want me here, but you guys have had a heck of a year and getting ready to head off to the competition.
Right.
State, we'll get to that in a second. Tell us about the season so far. Where have you gone to compete in the band festivals?
Well, we've been to the Music in the Castle over in Bristol, and we went down to the Admiral Cup Invitational in Knoxville and at Farragut High School. And then the latest one, we were at the Hilltopper Invitational over in Johnson City.
and did very well at all three of those, obviously.
Did as good as we could at this point in time. It's not been a rebuilding year or anything like that, but we've got a little bit of a youth problem. It's good for the future, but we're kind of like the University of Tennessee's football team is. We're a little heavy on some freshmen and sophomores, and so it's taken us a little while to kind of keep our footing, but we're coming on at the right time. We're kind of like a baseball team that's hitting their stride just at the right minute.
I like this guy. Perry Elliott, the band director here at Elizabethton High School. You talk about numbers. Again, a school not that big in Elizabethton, but you have great support,
We do.
not only here but also in the middle school.
We do. The national, what the Music Educators Conference wants you to have is 10% of your student body, which would, for us, that'd be an 82, 85 member band. The national average is 7%, which means we have about a 56-piece band, but we actually have 148 in the high school band, which is right at almost 20% of the student body. Not quite, but we're knocking on the door, around 17%. And that success starts, of course, with Chris Lockhart, who's the middle school director, and the great program that he does. He's pushing right at around 300 at the middle school. And so that's phenomenal for a school that has under 600 in it. So we have about half of the student body at T.A. Duggar. So our success finds with the support we have at T.A. Duggar and the administrative support we have at the Elizabethton High School.
We're talking to the band director, Perry Elliott from Elizabethton High School. Tell us about your program this year. What's the program about?
Well, we're real proud of that, and I'm just going to tell you, it's when we go to construct our program, there's a lot of thought. One of the things that I like to do is I like to come up with something that is inspiring, educational, and when the students get through with it, they feel like they've done more than just play a collection of songs. So this year our program is entitled To Build a Wall. And on the program To Build a Wall, what we're doing is we're actually building the Vietnam War Memorial. And when we first talked about it, someone said, oh, it's going to be serious and dark then. And I said, nothing could be farther from the truth. In fact of the matter, the subtitle could be called The Vietnam Memorial, A Celebration. And it's all about the aspects of the intriguing part of the wall, the construction, how the people's names appear on it, and mostly how those what we call our gentle heroes were called by our nation and how they answered and how their sacrifice is answered and shown by their names being on that Vietnam War Memorial. It's been a real inspiration. I've had a lot of Vietnam veterans come up to me and personally and thank me and say how much it has been. Because as you may know or you may not know, the Vietnam War Memorial was first called a scar on the landscape, but now it's called the wall that heals. And I've had many Vietnam vets say it has been a healing event for them as well.
You're taking these students, 148 and the show, to Middle Tennessee this weekend. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's going to be a big challenge. Even though we're the defending state champions in the Tennessee Division II, which is schools of 900 and down to about 400, I don't know that we'd be the odds-on favorites. Very strong band in the Nashville area who's a 6-time state winner. They've really got a top-notch program. They're Page High School, so it's going to be nip and tuck between Page, us, Gibson County, Cascade High School, and several other dark horses. But we're going to go up against a slate of about 25 bands, and then from that 25, 10 will be selected to be named the state champion. And we're hoping we'll be in that final 10, and then that competition, from that final 10, the state champion will be crowned.
So for the folks out there, you have 15 minutes to do your show, 20 minutes. Tell us how that works.
Well, a show has to be a minimum of 7.5 and a maximum of 10. And the average band program runs around 8.5 minutes because if you get too much longer, it's harder to work up that much music. And so our show runs right around 8 minutes and 15 seconds.
So Coach Witten talks football, how he's got to go in the locker room and get a little pep talk, get them going. Do you give a pep talk to your band before?
We do.
Okay.
We do. Ours is a little different, though, where Coach Witten is all about letting that adrenaline flow. Ours is all about always staying under control. And so what we try to do is we try to let the music express the emotion but we keep everything under control. There's a line that we use all the time: stay inside the ensemble. And what that means is stay within yourself. Don't try to be a hero. We never want a hero. We want everything to be all as one, because after all, it's called a band, and it's like a band of brothers. You have to have everything looking exactly the same. You can't have one person standing out, so we all have to look exactly the same. That's why we wear a uniform, so it all has to stay the same.
So this weekend, that band of brothers from here at Elizabethton High School, hope you go in there and win that state championship.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'll be happy if you'll just say, go down and do your best.
Go down and do your best, and do your best. Bring a state championship. That's what
we'll do our
right?
best. We'll do our best to represent our school and our community, our family, and most of all, ourselves.
Good luck to you.
Thanks so much.
Yep. Good job, Perry Elliott, again, the band director from here at Elizabethton High School, going down for the state championship this week in Middle Tennessee. We certainly hope they bring it back. Anytime somebody can go down from Northeast Tennessee and come back with the state championship in any sport, in this case a band, we're all for it. Again, supporting our folks up here in this neck of the woods in Northeast Tennessee. So good luck to the Elizabethton Marching Band, the Cyclone Marching Band this weekend in Middle Tennessee. That'll do it for this segment. Again, we appreciate you very much giving us a watch, giving us a listen. Back next week with a brand new show as we talk in the huddle with Elizabethton Cyclone, and in this case, Elizabethton Cyclone Sports. And as always, remember, win or lose, be a good sport. I'm your host, Tom Taylor, and so long, everybody.